What's up, Guzzler?
But you got the gas guzzler back on. What does that mean again?
So freaking tired. Gas house. It's my gym.
Oh, all
Yeah.
gas. No brakes.
Guzzlers.
Isn't that what
Yep.
the kids say?
That was
Guzzler.
cool like 5 years ago.
Yep, they're just a bunch of guzzlers.
Does anybody have any topics that we want to try to cover today?
Maybe.
Yeah, we got one. Don't worry about it. Did you take your blood pressure medicine?
You're gonna need it. I hope you did. I hope you did some extra sled pushes today.
Couple
Okay,
extra
why?
burpees.
Hope you dropped some stress off at
Stress house?
the gas guzzlers gym.
Okay, you guys are funny. I'm so glad you guys are funny.
You are listening to the Alpha BassCast with Jake Boomer, Brian Smith, and Bo Fletcher.
So this podcast, I mean, the wheels of the bus are spinning. The season is starting. I actually got my boat out of storage. Brian has some pretty good boat stories, I'm sure, about his boat.
Situation.
I didn't even hear this. What's going on with the boat?
Well, I just need one more piece of paperwork before I can get it registered, and I got about 2 weeks to get that piece of paperwork. So hopefully
And
it
pull
shows
it
up in
legally
time.
through this country.
Hey,
Yeah,
hey, Brian,
yeah.
why don't you tell us about your paperwork issue last year?
I had a paperwork issue last year as well. We don't want to talk about that though. It's old news. We're in season 2. We don't talk about season 1 stuff in season 2.
Got it. Okay.
The second inaugural season. What happened, Brian?
There seems to be a theme.
You
That's
know,
all I'm saying.
I'm still learning the legality and business side. I did everything legally. It just didn't work out. It didn't work out the way I thought it was. I was gonna register it in another state and see if I could avoid some sales tax legally, because I do have another address in another state, and it just didn't work out. So the IRS is after me. If you don't see me in season 3, you know why. But it's a learning process.
Dude, you're going to have Martha Stewart's old jail cell, huh?
Probably.
I think, Jake, you and I should do season 3, and we'll just get a picture of his mugshot and just put it in the middle.
Brian
Or we'll
Smith.
make one of those. I'll make one of those big stupid heads that he has of himself.
That's right.
Except it'll be his mugshot, and I'll put it behind
I'll
me.
ship one out before I go into the big house.
Love it.
Hopefully
everything
don't
was
seize
done
it.
legally.
Awesome.
They might seize
You know,
it. I don't know.
That's the funny thing about doing this for a living is every year I start earlier and earlier and earlier getting stuff done. Like the first year I was on the Elite Series doing it professionally, I'm like, well, I guess I just do this and do this. I didn't know an order. I didn't have any idea of what I was really doing. Just kind of trip and fall your way through the whole process. And then season 2, you kind of have an idea of what to expect. So you start it, and then it goes up to the last minute, and you promise yourself while you're on your way to the first tournament, I'm never going to do that again, because if I don't get there in the next 3 hours, I'm going to miss blast off for the first tournament. And then season 3 and season 4, and I start earlier and earlier every year. And the date that I finish getting all of my stuff ready is always the same date. It is the day before I have to leave for the first event. So maybe I'll just put it off and see what happens.
It just doesn't get any better.
You might get someone knocking at your door.
Well, you never know. That'd be cool. IRS raid while we're filming a podcast.
Well, I was thinking, if they're going to seize everything, at least your wife will have comfort knowing they're not going to seize her books, because they're going to take one look at you and be like, yeah, that is.
All of these books are safe.
I think she'd be guilty by association. It's California, right? She'd be busted too.
Probably.
I had a little run-in with the law this week.
Really?
You guys want to hear a story?
I think I was on the phone with you.
You were. So yeah, the shop was closed on a Saturday. Liminout Marine's about a mile from my house, and I was moving boats around. I pulled a boat back, was getting some work done, and then my boat was in the shop. I was going to pull it home. It was like a quick trip. Just burn down there, swap boats, come back. Well, I'm talking to Bo on the phone, which you should, when you go to turn an alarm off, you should pay attention because I
You
hit
did it
the buttons, but
again?
then I hit the wrong. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, oh yeah, I have done it before.
But you did it while I was there.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, so it got to the point where the alarm was about to go off, but I turned it off. Like it made the noise, and then it allowed me to put the code in correctly, and I turned it off, and like my phone's not ringing, the owner of the company's not calling me, going, "Hey, the alarm's going off." I'm like, all's well, right? So about 20 minutes later, I'm pulling a boat out of the shop with a forklift, and I turn around, and there's two police officers behind me. Because I left in a hurry, I don't have my wallet, so I got no wallet. Right, I'm pulling a boat out of the shop. The silent alarm's going off, and the owner, Russ Baker, won't answer his phone. The guys are looking at me like, "So you don't have any ID? You got a boat here, and you're pulling it out of the garage, and the alarm's going off. And who are you again?" And I'm like, "My name's on the side of the boat, Jake Boomer." And the guy goes, Yeah, that was a good one. So I called my wife.
How was
and
your
I'm
night
like,
in jail?
You might have to go. Yes, I called my wife, and the first thing I'm like, "Hey, you might have to run home and get my ID because this could get ugly if Russ doesn't answer the phone." And the first thing she says is, "Did they get their guns out?" No, it's not like I'm stealing $1 billion. It's a boat with my name on it. She was a little bit. Yeah. Anyway,
I wish they would have drawn on you.
Like turning around and seeing two police officers is good enough. Like I was like, "Listen, I didn't steal it." For, just to kind of see their shape, I should have tore off running just to see. That would have been bad. Never mind.
I'll put it back. I'm sorry.
I could just get to the edge of the parking lot and be like, "Just kidding. See how fast you guys are."
Wouldn't have gone well for you.
No, I'd have been tased. You're right. That was stupid. Anyway, so yeah, I got to visit with the cops. My wife's like complete disregard for the concern, kind of the situation, kind of the duress I was in was probably the most scary. Like she was like, yeah, she said something like, "How cold are handcuffs?" Like she's not helping at all. Anyways, that's my story for the week.
Well, that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic.
Looks like we got an extra guest.
Colby, what's up, dude?
Colby Pearson. Like the excitement. How you doing, buddy?
Can you guys hear me?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You're the first one that's ever been on here without like technical problems. I'm actually impressed.
Look what we're talking about, dude.
That's
this guy's
true. That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Come on.
That is true.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we need to talk about, Jake, or should we jump right in?
I'm pretty sure I can weave, the events into our conversation. I mean, there's some good stuff going on in the industry I think we should talk about. But the nice thing about having Colby Pearson on here is he is officially part of the industry now, right? Not just as a professional angler, not as just, a guy that's kicking everybody's butt, but you are working for a business that, like, I can't remember the name. So tell me who you're working for.
Yeah, so super fortunate that I was able to become a sales rep within the industry. Definitely helps me out fishing tournaments and traveling and being able to work remote. I work on behalf of Rapala and all their brands, so Suffix, all the 832 braid, fluorocarbon, monofilament, VMC, all of that stuff, as well as Promar, which makes crabbing gear, shrimping gear, nets, gaffs, some saltwater lures, as well as Bahio optics, Fish Monkey gloves, and a few other brands as well.
Dang.
Really cool.
How'd you get that gig?
So
I slaved away in a retail store for a decade.
So you've seen both sides of it now.
I was going to say, the answer is he's way smarter than you, Bryant.
Well, that goes without saying.
So now that you're part of the industry, and so, like when we're from the outside looking in, like the industry is this massive thing. And a lot of us anglers that want to be part of the industry on the fishing side of things, you have a different perspective from the outside looking in, right? like just to jump right into it, let's go for it. But like, how much different is the industry now that you're in it and competing at the pro level? Like, I bet that perspective shifted significantly. I know it did for me.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, from the angler perspective, I mean, it's just one side of the coin, how the industry works in terms of acquisition, manufacturing, B2B sales, so business to business sales, things of that nature is completely different. So it's been really exciting for me to learn it. It's not exactly something that I would have considered myself very knowledgeable in prior to starting the job, even though I was on the retail side. So I was to the end consumer sales. Now I'm more so between manufacturing and then retail locations, distributors, and things like that. So hugely different from the tournament angler's perspective on how the industry actually works and things that may or may not be important to each side.
Yeah.
Does it make you feel better or worse about it?
I think it's better. You know, at the end of the day, like,
Bryant laughs.
it makes me feel that there's a potential that tournament anglers are a bit more disconnected than they probably ought to be from how the inner workings actually happen. But I think it's positive. I'm very fortunate to work for brands that are, you know, extremely prominent, and my job is it takes a lot of time, and I'm very dedicated to it. But at the end of the day, it's an easy job because it's like selling milk to the grocery store. You know, you kind of got to have it. So they keep making the best baits, and pretty easy pitch for me.
Yeah. I remember Jason Hickey is a buddy of ours on tour as well, and him and I rode to a tournament together, and every phone call I had was about work, but work is about the industry, right? And when we got to where we were going, he's like, dude, I'm so jealous that all you guys do is talk, even if it's just talking about the business side of it or all the other stuff. He's like, I'm so jealous that everything you talk about is the industry. And I'm like, well, not all those conversations are fun, right? Like there's the up and the downside of the industry, but I think being a part of it helps a lot when you want to spend this much time on the road, when you're not like Bryant Smith that can't probably do anything else but catch fish. So like, you know, he can make his money on checks, but like being a part of the industry, seeing like the biggest thing for me is like, what do they really value? Every brand's different and every time's different, but I think what we believe is valuable to a brand that's in part of the fishing industry is probably not always like, now you probably know that, right? They probably don't think much about us bass fishermen.
Yeah, I mean, they do in different capacities and in different levels. I just think that the viewership you need to figure out how to attain, and in order to get an ROI on behalf of the brands, is a lot more than what most people A, realize, and B, they're willing to put their best foot forward on. So
100%.
That's powerful. That's true.
Yeah. Like I had a conversation with a very prominent pro angler about, he's at a point where he's turning down work, like turning down money. And there's a lot of us pros that aren't there yet. And he's there because he is successful and he does do a ton of work. But he's like, I can't take on any more work. Like, I can't take on any more content creation or any of that kind of stuff. And a lot of us aren't there, but we think we are. Like, man, I'm so busy. Like, I was talking to Bryant a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago, and he was like, man, I am just so caught up in organizing this garage. I was like, remember that, Bryant?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not the dumbest thing you ever said, but like, I'm sure that, you know, there's people that are like,
blows me away how you're able to both compliment and just completely thrash me at the same time. Like, you have
you just got eradicated.
You tiptoe that line so well.
Do you put the June bug above the plum or the plum below the June bug? I don't know. God, I need a beer.
Appreciate that.
Unbelievable.
Sorry you have to be part of this, Colby. This is just...
No, it's a pleasure to be here. Been a fan of the show since the beginning, so happy to be on.
Awesome.
And feel free to take as many jabs at Bryant as possible.
It's what I'm here for.
I mean,
it's what I'm here for.
It's kind of all open season. Like, I know that there's some pretty easy targets. You're welcome to. I mean, I've been a fan of yours since you were a kid, and I think this is not a kid, but I think this is a good segue to go into something I really wanted to talk about with you, because the first time I ever heard the name Colby Pearson was at the river, the very first Wild West at the river. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you had an old Ranger with a 2-stroke on it. You were going against the locals of the locals, you know what I mean? The guys that knew everything. That's also the very first time I met Brian. And if I remember correctly, I think you were leading it for the first 2 days, right?
I was in second on day one. Justin Campbell had me beat by just a little bit, and then day two I took over the lead.
Right.
So it was a pretty amazing experience up there on the river. And I was doing it chasing largemouth, and the only reason I was chasing largemouth was because I couldn't figure out how to catch a decent smallmouth to save my life.
That's just so smart though, right? Like sometimes we want to be able to be good at everything, but the fact that you couldn't do the one thing made you prioritize something that put you in the lead after day 2, right? It's so funny
It's all
how
I had. I mean, I
yeah,
didn't catch an 11-inch smallmouth even in all of practice, so we doubled down on the green ones.
almost won the tournament. But so I've been a buddy of yours, kind of an acquaintance, but now like a big fan, especially after the butt kicking you gave us last year and you continue to give us. But I bet you between now, where you're at now in your career, you have a career now in the industry, a good one. You're a top tier angler that's doing really well. But back then when I knew you, like your boat broke down all the time. You were easily flustered. I had your travel partner, Thaddeus, with me, and he was my co-angler one day, and we talked about you and this that progression between where you were at now, which to me seems like you're on top of the world, you own this place, you're where you need to be. And I know you've probably got goals you're going to, but back then you probably didn't think you could get here, right? Like you knew you were going to get there, but you didn't know how it was going to be there. Here's the question. What would you have told yourself? What do you wish if you could go back right now and say, I wish I could tell myself, my 20-year-old self, something before, like what would I have told myself? If I go back in time and say something, give myself one tip to make that easier or to the progression, what would you tell yourself?
I wouldn't warn myself of any of those things I had to go through, anything that I broke, any lack of endorsements and sponsorships, because if there's a reason why last year was what it was and this year shaped up to, eventually what it was, it's because you get kicked in the teeth so many times that I don't know, quit. You know what I mean? It doesn't exist in me anymore. So as much as it'd be nice to go back and give myself a pat on the back and say, hey, dude, I know you've been slinging tires off on the freeway and blowing outboards and breaking things that the Mercury techs haven't heard of breaking before.
Yeah.
It's why I'm here, man, and it's why I can have a bad event and fight my way out of it. And I'm as excited to fish bass tournaments at this day and age as ever, and I feel myself getting better every couple months, and my alarm goes off tournament day, and 4 minutes later, I drive my travel partners crazy because I'm in the truck with it idling, warming up, like chewing my fingernails off because I'm like a chained up dog ready to go,
That's cool.
I love it.
That's awesome.
So
that is a great answer too.
That is
everything I ever did is just the hardest way possible, just about. So
You don't make it
I
easy
would
on
never warn
yourself.
my past self of any of this. No, never.
It's a pretty, I mean, like in the biblical world, that's a pretty strong principle that, like, you don't go back. You are the sum of what you. Oh, did we lose him? You are the sum of all of the mistakes you made. That's why you are who you are. So that's pretty cool. I know
100%.
I would have made a couple changes in the way I dealt with the industry. I think. Like
There's
I
definitely things I could have handled better. Of course, everybody has those, but in hindsight, I can easily identify them and react accordingly now. A lot harder to spin out for sure.
Yeah. I mean, like on the water for sure. I don't see it happening. You told me a couple months ago, like it doesn't matter what anybody else does. The end of the day, the way this tournament's going to go, it's all on me. You can't affect it. It's the way I'm going to deal with it. Like I wrote that down because it's true. I don't care if somebody runs your boat over. Like if I run over Bryant's boat, which I've done before, I mean, Bryant just needs to learn to deal with it.
I think
Pausing for
I fished the Winter Open at Clear Lake a couple weeks ago, and I lost multiple days of practice just due to boat issues and stuff, and I had to borrow a boat. Without practice, the lake was flooding. Day one was miserable, and I made it all the way up almost to check range. And the fact that a guy can weigh 8 pounds on Clear Lake and fight his way out of that hole is kind of amazing. So it's all I know, man. We're going regardless. So stay positive and grind.
Your boat's new-ish, mostly new. What happened?
New for what I require, new for most people. It's two different things, dude.
Just don't get away from it.
Colby breaks
Like
stuff.
you're
That's
not
all
gonna
there is
get
to it.
People say all the time, they're like, "Oh, you have the worst luck," and I'm like, "Dude, it's volume." You know what I mean? If you're gonna drive 100,000 miles in a year, you're gonna put X amount of hours on your trolling motor, or run it on 100 all the time. Like these things happen. Compare
I
the
st-
hours. I'm just fortunate to get out and have a mentality that's pretty straight now.
I still remember when
Yeah.
I think it was when Wild West was starting and you were fishing some of them down here. Dude, I would see your boat and you had one speed. Well, you had two, all the way down or the motor's off. That is it. You had no in between. There was no cruising. There was no like, "Oh, I'm just going to look around the lake." It is hammer down or you have the key off. There's two speeds for Colby Pearson. And I loved it. I loved watching you go.
Yeah, when you got to drive 6 to 15 hours everywhere with 2 days of practice, you got to make up time somehow.
Yeah. Boat driving. Now that I'm old, like I used to fish with this old guy one of the guys that trained Brandon, and every time we'd be fishing a derby, he was a little older than me. Somebody go blowing by us, wide open, trimmed out, and they probably just be running from one side of the bay to the other, but they do it 100 miles an hour. And he always said, "Hey man, where's the fire?" Every time. But then when I would drive, he'd get mad at me, and I'm like, "Listen, dude, we can make so many casts a day. And if we're out here sightseeing and you're telling me about this new house they're building on the point over there, like if you should not be able to talk when I'm driving. Like you should be holding on to something and hoping not in practice, but tournament wise, we're going A to B fast. I'm not saving gas here." I got a funny story about, we're kind of talking about how like you had a bad day, you fought your way back. And this sport I think is about, you try to control everything you can control, but you can't control everything. And Bryant, this is my favorite story about Bryant coming up to the river. Bryant was leading Angler of the Year by like 1 point. Do you remember this story, Bryant?
Oh, yeah. Go for it.
Okay, because you can't control everything, right? We talked about it in another podcast. Like we anglers want to be able to control everything, but this sport doesn't allow for that. You know what I mean? So, anyways, Bryant's leading Angler of the Year. I'm his friend at this point, so I'm helping him out. I want him to win it. He just has to have a somewhat decent finish. And he's fishing against Austin. What was that guy's name?
Wilson?
Austin
Wilson. And it was a race.
Mhm.
It was a race between the two of them. And Bryant and him are neck and neck going into the last day. And I don't know who Austin is. I don't know nothing about him. But I go blowing down the lake, and there's this guy kind of waving at me. And this is the last day. He's got a pretty good bag, and his boat won't start. And he's going to miss weigh-in. And I could not, like my jump box would not start his boat. And so I'm like, "Dude, I don't know what to tell you." And he goes, "Hey, man, don't worry about it." And so the next guy I stop at is Justin Campbell. And I said, "Hey, do you have a big jump box? Because that guy up there needs your help." So like I took an extra little bit to stop and talk to Campbell, which if any of you guys know me and Campbell, we're always beefing. Like we're good friends. But when we see each other on the water, we're like burning each other down. And so we got that out of the way. So that took 15 seconds. You suck. And we went back and forth. I'm like, "That guy in the Green Ranger over there, you need to help him out." And he goes, "All right." So he cranks up and goes and helps him. And he has a big jump box, gets him started. Austin got back in and beat Bryant by 1 point in Angler of the Year.
Yeah. Thanks, Jake. Appreciate it.
I didn't know. Like, you just do
Way
what
to
you
be a
can
nice
for your.
guy.
It wasn't. Yeah. Well, you're now an elite angler, so I think you're fine.
That was
think
my
you made
fault
it out.
anyway. Yeah, that was my fault.
All's well that
anyway.
ends well.
I lost 3 of the fish that would have locked up Angler of the Year easily. So it's not your fault this time, Jake. But I'm still gonna
Well,
blame
I
you.
think that was your old rod company, wasn't it? Anyways, so Colby, does anybody else have any questions? Because I got like 1,000 for Colby. You can go, Buford.
No, you can. You're on a roll. So just let's let you calm down a little. Let's get it out.
I know
let
you're going to hit
calm
me
down
with
a little
some
bit
big
before we
news today.
spike your blood pressure.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I already know what you guys are going to say. I'm already fired up. All right, so Colby, you wouldn't tell like, but what? Okay, but I promise you, there's kids on the West Coast, people that listen to this, the 8 people that listen to this. What advice would you give them when you were, you know what I mean, when you were back, when you weren't loaded with money and you didn't have a job? You know what I mean? Like you busted your butt. You'd work till 8 p.m. at night and you'd get in the truck and now look at where you're at. What what advice would you give them? Because we're all different. We all come from different walks, right? But there's so many people that want to know.
Yeah, I'd say the number one thing I didn't realize when I was a kid, like I did high school fishing and all that stuff. So I've done this forever. I fished my first bass tournament when I was 10. So 20 plus years fishing tournaments and stuff. It's that it's unbelievably harder than you think. So you have to take each day, each opportunity, and really give it like your best effort, because when I graduated high school, and I don't like come from much, resource wise and stuff, I was second in the nation in high school fishing. We won state, we won regionals. My tournament partner was Jacob Wall, who fishes on the BPT now. I kind of like thought there maybe would be a period where the red carpet like rolls out, like, hey, we want you to continue on this path that you've, and I was in the yard pitching and flipping and trying to learn different baits and involved in social media since day one. I was probably one of the first fishing YouTubers there ever was. And all of a sudden I hit this period of like, well, how do I do this? What do I do now? Like, I don't have any money. I have like a 30-year-old boat type stuff, and just slowly chipped away at it. And the rungs of the ladder that I had to climb to get to where I'm at now are honestly like pretty insane, whether it was work conditions, living conditions, financial implications, and so on and so forth. So I'd say, man, if you really love it and you really want to chase it, like, you cannot take how difficult it is for granted. It's so much work to get there. So just 100% effort all the time. And I learned to embrace it. It was probably in my mid to late 20s, where I really was like, okay, dude, you can't just like keep showing up and putting in like 3/4 effort and get anything done. Like, and I've lived on 110% effort ever since. And that's the only way it's ever worked for me. So double down, man. And you got to try so hard as you can, harder than you think you can even.
That's cool.
Where's the ceiling for you? Are you happy on the West Coast? Are you happy with what's going on, or is there a larger goal for you?
I definitely have larger goals. I'm super happy with where West Coast fishing is and the opportunities that we have slowly built over time. You know what I mean? This is still a relatively new thing. I'd say the last 6 years we've been on a good upward trajectory, and Mark with Bass Angler Magazine and his Pro Tour was able to kind of like save that because it almost wasn't a thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And but I want to fish national. I want to go back east. I'd love to fish the opens and try to qualify to fish, the Elite Series or even the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit, whatever. I love to fish. I love to compete. That's the primary reason why I do it, is just sheer passion, not so much finances. Like, I love it. It's what I wanted to do forever. Every cumulative bit of effort that I've ever achieved anything in my life, whether it's work or just being a good person or fitness or anything, it's all because I want to bass fish at the highest level I possibly can. So
I like it.
That's like inspirational.
It is.
It really is.
We're making
t-shirts. Like,
Colby Pearson.
You had no quit.
Yeah.
No, it died a long time ago, man. Like, you can only have so many things atom bomb on the one piece of equipment that you actually own in your whole life. That, I've exploded trucks and boats and motors, tires and axles and lids and trolling motors that caught on fire. Day one of that tournament at the Columbia River, I had to call Willie Nelson because my trolling motor caught on fire. On day 3, I broke the rod that lifts the motor on my 2-stroke Mercury. So
this is on your old boat, right? This is
that tournament was in 2020.
Yeah.
So I started the tournament with a trolling motor fire, and I ended the tournament with a broken trim ram. I don't know. It's a piece of metal that's like this big around.
Yeah.
They were impressed. Everybody looked at it. So
that's wild. Yeah.
You have a gift.
I snapped a drive shaft in half a couple years ago too. That was impressed some people. And I just threw an ear off a prop last week, and I did that again 6 months ago. And the one 6 months ago took a lower unit out too. So the difference is these days I get to run equipment with warranties. It helps.
It does.
Yeah.
We talked about that though. Like, we're actually putting together like a series for the BassCast, which is kind of like I want to call it like the tournament cheat code series. Like if you're trying to qualify for something, you need to prepare yourself. You can't miss a day. Like you can't miss a check-in, right? If you set a whole season, say you do the opens, you've got 4 events, there's 8 check-ins you have to make, no matter what you do. And yes, I think the opens have a little bit better trailer yards and stuff like that, but it's part of the planning for your next level. If you want to go to the next level, whatever it is, whatever level you're at, the next level has to involve a math to reliability. I hate to say it that way.
100%.
I don't know how to say it any better. Like if you got a great deal on one product, but it has a 70% reliability compared to another product that you get less of a deal, you can burn a $30,000 season with one ear off, one something stupid happening, right? I think that's becoming a big deal. Like when the first year we did the MPFL, Bryant and I did the MPFL. I can't remember the guy's name, Bryant, and I don't know why I forget it because he kicked our butt all year long. He was on the way to win Angler of the Year. He was on his way to win Grand Lake.
Brandon
remember?
Perkins.
Yeah, dude is an absolute hammer. He stopped in the rain on his way back with the winning bag for AOI, 50 grand, and the winning bag for that tournament, 50 grand. So $100,000. He stopped to put his helmet on, took his boat out of gear, and it never went back into gear. He lost AOI and he lost the tournament. Like that kind of stuff, like at a lower level, becomes something you have to pay attention to. And you got to be prepared for it, right?
Well, look at last season. Ish was so close or not last season, but 2024 season when I won Angler of the Year. Ish was so close to being on my heels that I fished really, for me, a flawless season. 4 top 10s, won 2 events back to back, and all the hardships. Even the last year, people were like, "Oh no, sorry about this." I'm like, "Sorry for what, man? I fished a perfect season. I'm so due for these things to happen right now. It's not even funny." Like,
you're probably prepared too. Like you know what to look for. You're like, hey. The one thing that I love about people with mechanical stuff is they hear something weird, like a weird noise, or it does something, it glitches, it does something funny, and then it doesn't do it again. And they're like, oh, it's fine. No, it's not. Like electronics and mechanical stuff don't heal themselves. They're not superhuman. That glitch, that thing, you need to investigate that because that's not going to get better on its own, right? Like, oh, don't worry about it. It's fine. It'll be fine. Oh, Brian's famous MPFL line.
Well, that's
fine.
a good. So I carry spare parts to everything I've ever broken in my boat, right? So when I break something in my boat, and I feel like we're kind of the same way on our stuff. We're pretty tough on our stuff. So I've had a collection of parts growing for the past 15 years. But give me like 3 things that people don't like. You're going to bring your throw cushions and your fire extinguishers and all that stuff, tools. Give me 3 things that people don't think about that they need to maybe think about putting in the boat, or at least in the truck.
Number 1 is you got to have an extra prop. I'm 2 for 2 in the last couple of months, and I'm a lot more than that in my career. So you got to have an extra prop. Load it with an extra hub. That's just mandatory. Do not get the plastic prop wrench. Learn that one firsthand too. You have to get a metal prop wrench. Probably have a couple backups. Standard set of, I'd say number 2 for me would be like any sort of electrical tools and crimps and sleeves, heat shrink, things like that to make sure your connections are good because they're going to jumble loose all the time anyways. And then the third one probably, if you had the means to, definitely be extra trolling motor. Different trolling motors, every single one has different aspects of it that goes wrong. There's certain things for the Minn Kota you probably need to have, other things for the Garmin that you'd want to have. So I'd say those 3 for sure. Extra prop loaded with the hub, definitely. And then, trolling motor, if you can have the means for it, electrical components. And then the 4th one would be just a whole extra boat. If you fully loaded tournament rig, if you could pack that, is what I'd say.
Like pulling a double trailer, one of those stacker trailers. You got 2 boats on it. Yeah. That would actually be really nice. But then the truck you'd have something wrong with the truck, right? I remember like Carl at the end of this year, which Carl Jakobsen believes, like he was born to be doing what he's doing. I believe it. I've met him a few times. I'm a big fan. But when he almost got kicked out this year, he was on stage and he said, "This sport is savage." And that is the best way to describe this journey, right? Not if you want to stay home and fish, like, dude, I'm going to go on a rant, Bo. Like, what is like the most biggest pet peeve that that you hear, like, is when somebody's like, I beat Bryant in this tournament, I beat Bryant in that tournament or whatever. I'm as good as he is. I just, I can't get the time off to do it, or I had to be a pro too. And I'm like, no, you wouldn't. Like, when you beat somebody comfortable, that's one thing. But this sport makes you uncomfortable from the outside in. Like, when the amount of money we just paid our deposits for this season, right? Like, I'm a $4,000 into entry fees this month, and I haven't even, I'm not even on the water, right? You're so uncomfortable. People that change their life, you changed your life, Colby. Like, luckily you got a great job in the industry, but you couldn't just go chase the career that could have afforded to do this because they won't give you the time off. That outside uncomfort, right? Like, yeah, you can't beat Bryant Smith because Bryant Smith's already solved all the other problems and he's good, right? Like, that outside stuff is like that to me always bothers me because I'm like, I actually changed my life. I had a great job. My wife would probably prefer I had my original salary, but like, so that I could stay fishing and doing this, I quit that job and had to go and create a whole new way. That's a whole lot of outside influence that affects the way you fish. So I get it. Like, what Bryant goes through where he has to like plan to be gone and then come home to see his kid. Like, my second year on MPFL, and Bryant can attest to this, I tanked. I couldn't be away from the girls for that long. Like, he was like, we need one more day of practice. We'd pre-practice every event. He could be like, I'd say we need one more day, and we were traveling together. He's like, and he would say he'd want one more day, and I'd be on my way home. I got homesick. That outside discomfort you can't compete with, right? Anyways, there's my rant.
You guys, no, 100%. You got to want it really bad. And right out of high school, like I said, I was like waiting for the red carpet to roll out. And 2 years later, I said yes every single time I was asked to do something at work. And I was living in a 28-foot trailer that I borrowed, and it didn't even have a shower. I had to go to the YMCA every day. And I didn't fish for a couple of years. And the only reason I was in that position is because I wanted to fish so bad. And I was so frustrated that I wasn't able to, that I was willing to do anything I needed to do to position myself to try to climb the stairs. So I was working my butt off when I was in my early 20s.
I did not know that. That's what you're competing against when you competed the Super 60. Dude was living in a trailer.
Yeah.
That's Colby when he launches every morning. Remember that.
It is, man. It really is. Like, if anybody was going to ask anything about consistency to me, it's like, dude, it's so life or death. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. You're just going to get better too, because what do they say? The people that make the most money or have the most success in this, the people that cash the most checks are the people that don't need them. Like, once you got to the point, now that you're kind of set and you endured all that and you have the skill set, you're a lot harder to beat now, right? You don't need the check, right?
100%. I'm super fortunate that I've had really great mentors too, When I was really young, it was one of Brian's really good buddies, Dustin. We would just talk about fishing online all the time. And Dustin shot me super straight when I was a kid, man. And he told me, he's like, hey, it's going to be harder than you think. And it's going to take more money than you'd ever believe. And you got to figure that out first. And don't skip steps, So I fished club, and I didn't fish anything as an amateur until I won Angler of the Year in my club. And then I fished amateur. And once I was successful in that, started fishing regional, got my ducks in a row monetarily. My first pro-am I fished in a 1997 Skeeter. So it was 2018. So it wasn't 1997. It was not a new boat. And just climbed the ladder. And then now, the last few years, I'm super fortunate. I got to fish with Chris Carpenter a ton. And if anybody knows Chris, he's a Northwest legend, and he's had a lot on his plate for a long time. So I've been able to adopt a lot of his mentality, and that's why I win stuff sometimes.
Dude, he is. I can attest to that. I love
he's
that
insane.
Guy.
He's absolutely insane.
Natural.
And every single waking moment of every single day on the water until it's time to weigh in is 100% effort. And he taught me that, so super grateful.
Super cool.
That's
I'm kind of bogarted all the time, so I'll let Bryant talk.
I want to touch on something real quick. What you just said, it's the Stair-Step, and it's something I get asked a lot too, is, how do you make it to this level? And you said the Stair-Step, but you also said that you don't miss a step. You don't skip a step. And I want to hear your thoughts on that. The way I see it is if you skip a step, that means you weren't ready to go to that next step, right? But if you take every single step and you do it in the order it was meant to be there, I think that's what breeds the success later on down the road. And I think that's why you're where you're at right now. There's no doubt in my mind. You took every step and you did it correctly. You didn't skip any steps, and you learned the whole process the entire time.
100%. I never had the resources to make trial and error be a thing. Like, my fishing career has never surpassed my resources ever, one time. So if I didn't perform at some level of a circuit or some level of fishing, that's where I was going to stay, because the only way I've ever really financed myself is based off tournament winnings. Like, I have a really good job now, and it's awesome. And I have some really good partners now, and they're equally awesome. But at the end of the day, for me to go branch out and do other stuff, like, dude, I have to win. I have to get checks, so that's all there is. No sabotage. You don't end up in a room you don't belong in, if that's kind of your philosophy in that regard. And I'm excited in the future to keep stepping it up, man.
Very cool. What is I've become friends with a sponsor of yours, Craig Main. What, like, just give me an example of what you think he is to the, the more I learn about him, I think he has a bigger impact on the West Coast fishing than a lot of people are giving, that people even know about. He probably doesn't want anybody to know about him, but
yeah,
awesome.
No, Craig's a great guy, a great friend. I talk to him often. Fortunate we get to fish together from time to time. I wish we got to fish together more, but he's huge, man. Just a supporter of fishing in the West, in multiple different facets and regards over the course of time through multiple different organizations. And it takes people like him and, like Wood Brothers Carpet and Flooring, a non-endemic sponsor of what we do out here, in order to make it happen. And he stood by us as anglers, pretty much since day one. He fishes in the events, and he's made a ton of friends, yourself included. And he's just a perpetual advocate for the growth of fishing in the West. And I hope that all the anglers that fish all the circuits at least give that business a shot, and understand the sacrifices and contributions that they've been able to put forth to allow us to do what we do out here, through multiple different, Wild West stuff, as well as now in Bass Angler Magazine and others.
100%. He kind of has like this behind the scenes ability to make sure stuff doesn't get too far gone. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Like, he's just got that heart about him. He's a cool guy. The best story about him is I never met him until last year practicing with Bryant. And Bryant had him for a couple days, and every time I ran across Bryant at potholes, I'd curse him out, run over his boat, and leave. And Craig watched this whole interactions. Like, I don't think he probably thought we were friends. First day of the tournament, I draw him, and I get a phone call. Bryant's like, "You better be nice to Craig Main." I'm like, "Dude, who am I ever mean to besides you? Like, come on."
Every co-angler that's ever been on your
No, I'm
boat.
not.
Correct.
And I'm like, so I tell Craig, I'm like, "Dude, I don't know what you got going on, but even Bryant's telling me to take care of you or something like that." And Craig goes, "Man, I didn't even know if he liked me." And he goes, "Who cares if he does?" Sorry, I didn't say that. Anyways,
He's awesome
it's a small
too. You
world we live in.
always get the good luck text when you're having a good tournament. Like, it's cool to have support from guys like that, who are just, he's a great angler, and he's a fan of the sport. He's a fan of what we all do out here, and he's got a great business, very successful business, and he chooses to support us. So that's super cool.
Yeah, no, I couldn't be more fortunate that, he's been by my side since 2020, the first season of the, type of pro tour stuff we did out here. And the last two BAM events, he was there to help me pull my boat out of the water and stuff. So he's a great friend, first and foremost, and he's been a huge supporter of my growth. Like, people say, "Oh, I wouldn't be here without my sponsors," and a lot of people say that, and it doesn't really mean anything. But, like, I promise you, in my case, I wouldn't be. So, especially early on, like, there's no way. So he helped the train go down the tracks for me in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Wow,
And that's
awesome.
it's very similar to my career when I started. I had a guy who helped me out a ton, just because of the financial burden that comes with it, and he didn't really want anything in return. But I feel like you definitely put yourself in that situation to where people do want to support you and do want to help you out and see you have that success, because they see the talent, They see what you've done your whole career up to this point. You just need a little bit of help to get over that hump. And then you get over that hump, and now you're Angler of the Year and you win 2 tournaments back to back. And I'm looking at your stats right now, and you have a top 10 rate of 81.8% in the Pro Tour, in the Pro-Ams.
Did you do
That's
that?
crazy.
Did you do that math yourself?
Yeah, I did.
He
in my head. I didn't just read this
No, he
off of
didn't.
no.
I am as equally blown
No,
away
he
by
didn't.
that stat as the man who
81.8.
just spoke it.
No.
I mean, that's
I'm-
insane.
I don't
but
wanna-
Brian,
yeah.
where did that come from?
Yeah.
Anyways.
No, it's an insane stat.
Colby's the
Even
man.
if I did just read it off this piece of paper, he has got a top 10 percentage rate of over 80%. That's
insane.
wild.
That is.
Yeah.
That's insane. Did you even know that, Colby?
I saw it, and yeah, super proud of that, and it's I come from Oregon. I don't have a home lake. Every lake I go to fish a bass tournaments, a foreign place that I've had to break down. Maybe I've been there, maybe I haven't, but there's a level of versatility that you can acquire when you're always on the road.
Mm-hmm.
So ability to break down water fast and mentally stay in check and push it. And plus growing up around here, there's no tournament lakes, but I got 20 lakes within an hour or two that have largemouth, smallmouth, and spotted bass. And I can flip, and I can punch, and I can frog, and I can throw a drop shot and a swim bait, and a lot of other things too. So it's kind of worked out. As crazy as a Oregon angler, would be displaced in this sort of circuit and any sort of circuit. It's there's silver linings in everything. And I got a lot of volume growing up, so it helps.
Well, but you have a natural gift, in my opinion. Like you are the perfect combination of opportunity meets preparedness, but you have God has given you something that you have just leaned into so heavily. I still remember. I think it was last summer. You were out on the water with Gordon Casey. You were out the river, and I ran into you. And I had just picked up my boat from Nixon's, and I think I was just spent an hour or two making sure everything was good. But we had ran into each other, and we were talking for a bit. And you said something that I remember driving back to the ramp being like, I was just kind of stunned thinking about the one statement you said to me, because I just gotten my boat back. I don't think I had my graphs loaded up, or I made some comment to that. And you were like, man, every time I get a new boat, I don't even have waypoints to load into it. And I was like, well, where do you, how do you reference anything you've ever fished in the past? And you just pointed at your head, and you were like, if it was a good place to fish, I already know where it is. And then you were like, yeah, see you later. And as you drove off, I was like, you are on a whole nother level. Like that you could go to a place like the Columbia River, and you like your head has every single waypoint that you ever want to fish.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I can't remember what I ate for breakfast.
If it's worth fishing, I'll find it again if it's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You're a savant, man.
Would you say your style of fishing is actually that's your advantage, is just seeing everything with a fresh set of eyes, not having any preconceived notions? Do you think that's actually an advantage for you?
Yeah, and it's an adopted advantage. I mean, at the beginning of my career, I lost that Columbia event we referenced at the beginning of the show here. And I was notorious for having a bag within contention on day one and a bag miserably out of contention on day two, let alone if I made it to day three. So, it's something that I kind of noticed that I needed to get better at, and I 100% dove into, and that's allowing myself creative interpretation to expand on the water. And that's why I'm becoming and have, that's why I do what I do now, 100%. I fully embrace what I need to do to accomplish the task at hand and expand freely with no regrets. The Delta is a perfect example this year. At that event on day one, I didn't have a scoreable fish till probably 11 a.m. And then between 152 and 240, I caught over, I don't know, maybe 22 pounds, almost 21 and a half pounds. I can't remember. And that just is totally me staying free and in a flow state the entire day, and then being analytical and strategic and trying to piece it together. And it's shocking how often it works if you don't put yourself in that box.
I know we're running out of time, so final thoughts. Study the way pickleball is the fastest growing sport in the history of the world, right? It's a consumable product. Everybody can do
He's
it.
been waiting for so long.
I know.
He finally,
Well, it's actually
he
good.
finally got to admit
Dude, you
it. He's a
finally
pickleballer.
Study what's working.
Talk about pickleball. Hey, Colby, while you're thinking about fishing all the time, guess what Jake's doing? Playing pickleball. Jake actually said to me 2 weeks ago, I'm so glad the Nixon's open house happened, because he showed up and he came over and he goes, all right, I'm ready to go fishing. But this guy 2 weeks ago was like, man, I don't know. This pickleball thing might really challenge my interest in fishing this month.
Is Alpha Angler
Colby
have
understands though, because
what do they call them? Pickleball bats, paddles, whatever. You got a line coming out?
You idiot.
Yeah, it's paddle.
Idiot. It's sometimes good to Colby probably understands that when you live in this industry, it's probably good to take a break from some pieces and parts of it, right? So, but moreover, like Colby said, you got to have mentors. You study what's working. The biggest company, the fastest growing, the most lucrative pickleball company is actually like 10 miles from my house, which blows me away. I would have never known. I'd like
to do some cross branding and marketing in the fishing industry.
That's Bingo. Right. How to keep bass fishermen healthy, like, right? Brandon even said it the other day. Every one of the campgrounds he stays at has a pickleball court. He routinely beats up on Vandiver just to get his aggressions out before tournaments. So, well, cool guys. I know that we had a time limit today, and Colby, we thank you for being flexible and for even giving us the time of day. We know that we're a bunch of goofballs, so thank you.
I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, I was glad to have you on, dude.
Thank you so much for coming on, man. This was you dropped some knowledge on everybody, and you really are an inspiration on how to, if you have a goal, just don't quit. You'll make it there one way or the other. The path isn't always the same way for everybody, but everybody can achieve their goals, and you did it.
Yeah. I won't be super upset if you keep throwing props. I mean, prop blades. I just
slow him down a little bit.
I will.
Just kidding. I'm just slow him down a little bit. He'll come in at 45 miles an hour with the same bag. Yeah.
Yeah, and a smile on his face still.
Smile on his face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't beat it.
Thank you, Colby.
Thanks,
cool.
buddy.
Thanks, guys.